All right, welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. Please, just a minute. We'll be starting now. I'm just trying to get some other person in. Please, just a minute. Just a minute. Just a minute. Welcome everyone.
Hello everyone.
Welcome, Mr. Ali. Welcome. How are you doing, sir? Okay, so. Let me stop sharing here and go to Zoom, share my screen. So, share screen. So, please, let's confirm if we can all see my screen. Let's confirm if we can all see my screen.
Yes, we see you.
Okay, hope I'm sharing the right thing. Can we all see the Power BI? Okay, please confirm what we can see on my screen. Are we seeing the Power BI file?
Yes, I see your Power BI screen, but
okay.
It's like a blank canvas.
All right, great. So welcome once again, everyone. Sorry for the technical. You said? Sorry, I didn't get that.
No, we can see your Power BI screen is visible. Please, I want to change it to another system.
Okay.
This is Victor. I can see your Power BI. I'm moving into another system. Your Power BI is visible. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Okay, great. Just let me see for this. Okay. So other person will join us shortly. Okay. Let's kickstart this session. So welcome once again to the Microsoft Eastern Power Platform community, and today we'll continue looking at DAX measures, data visualization, as well as formatting. We will equally look at how we can possibly change data source. Let's say I finished building a report or trying to build a report, right? And I didn't finish that report before going on leave. So you needed to continue building the reports. What I just need to do is just to send you the data source if I'm connecting to Excel, right? If I'm connecting to a data source stored on my desktop, what I need to do is just to send you the file and send you the Power BI report so as for you to continue. At that point, what do you need to do? Currently, you can't do anything except you go change the data source so that it looks up the data source in the particular place which you have stored it in your system. The Power BI will need to look up the data source in the very place which you have stored it within your system, right? So we'll be looking at how we can possibly achieve that. I know yesterday we didn't do a whole lot with regards to our DAX measures, right? We didn't write the DAX to calculate the percentage year on year and the likes, right? So we will be looking at all that in this very session. So our guiding principle remains punctuality. So congratulations. So we are coming to the final session, or we are in the final session of this very bootcamp, right? One class is key. Have an open mind, mute mic when you are not talking, please, when you're not asking question. And as much as you can ask question when you are not clear about particular thing. Respect is key as well. Respect is key. Okay, so please, I would like to beg us at any point, if my audio is just going off and on, please just call on my attention immediately, because I was listening to the recording yesterday. So that audio challenge, or the network challenge, lasted for about 27 minutes, right? about 20 something minutes without me knowing. So it wasn't good at all. But thank God, before we dive into Power BI particularly, I resolved that. So if at any point, please, my audio tends to go off, kindly let me know. I would really appreciate that. So just a minute. Just a minute. Let's see who is lobby. Oh gosh, a whole number of persons. Just a minute. So admit all. All right. Okay, so that is that. I remember myself something about it for those of us who are joining Microsoft Certified Trainer, Data and Content Analyst. So no much talk. This was what we covered in our first session, right? This was what we covered in our first session. And for our session 2, we covered this, right? We looked at data and the like, modeling and the like. And in our session 3, which was held yesterday, we did cover this, right? And we're going to continue looking at a number of things related to what we did yesterday, right? So for today's session, we will be looking at, I don't know if we have any question with regards to previous session. Along the line, please, you can call on my attention to clarify that. So we'll continue looking at the core DAX formula, right? For us to express ourselves, we've cleaned our data, we've get our data, we transform our data, we model our data, that is creating relationship. And at this point, what we need to do is to analyze and visualize our data. Data formatting is also key because you shouldn't just pass through all that stress and present report that isn't appealing, right? So data formatting comes in so as for you to beautify your reports. But the main thing is for you to be able to perform a detailed analysis, right? And you can only express yourself to a large extent, or you can only express yourself to an extent based on the DAX formula you can write. Based on the DAX formula and you can write, right? You might know a number of things. You might want to achieve, let's say, this percentage revenue month-to-month percentage variance. You go to Power BI implicit measure, when you go through the process which I showed us yesterday and you try achieving that, let's say you are a little bit confused at a point. How do you possibly go about it? You can simply just dive into writing your own measure, because it helps you to express yourself, right? It helps you to express yourself and visualize any kind and have any kind of visual that you want, right? So on that, recall I made mention of anchor formula. I won't be explaining that. We looked at time intelligence formula. Let's say a same period last year. Let's say you need to know transaction counts year to date. You need to know transaction counts month on month, right? Year on year. So all that is something that you can possibly consider going through from our previous session. So just a minute, let me. Don't know why these people are joining this session. Please just give me a minute. Give me a minute, please. Just a minute. All right, sorry for that. I just needed to address the number of persons who joined the Zoom, the Microsoft Teams, right? So that is what we'll be looking at. And in this session, we will equally look at how to change data source report and how to create dynamic dashboard, right? How to create dynamic dashboard. So that is what we'll be looking at in this session. So let's just dive into the demo, and here's my Power BI reports. Okay, so yesterday I did walk us through on how to create a number of things, a number of visuals, right? And before we could visualize any of our data, we wrote some DAX measures, right? We wrote some DAX measures. So somehow along the line, towards the end of the training yesterday, my system crashed and I lost the whole thing because I forgot saving every step that I take, right? I never saved the file for the first time. So, and as such, I lost the file. I needed to, replicate what I did with us in the session again and added a little thing. So, but I don't know, will it be good that I just continue, or I run us through a number of things again? So I don't know. I remember that we never wrote DAX measures to calculate the units sold, right? So I did all that, and as well the transaction count, we never wrote DAX measure to calculate the last month. So currently what we need to do is just to take us through that process again, and we'll build this report that we currently have here. This report that you are currently seeing on my screen, we're going to replicate same thing, and we will equally create the dynamic background, so that once we click on any of this region, right, the entire background changes. The entire background color changes, just like what we have here. So it's one way to, just like what I showed us earlier, it's one way to add beauty to your report. So it's part of report formatting. So as simple as, simple as that, what is it called, background, dynamic background tends to sound, but sometimes it can be complicated, trying to achieve that. So let's just look at a number of things. Now, let's continue looking at how to calculate our revenue month-on-month, or revenue last month for our units sold, right? I will just continue. Do I have it here? But what I'm going to be doing is just to rewrite the formula so that we can see that, right? So I'll collapse all this. Please confirm if my audio is clear. Please confirm if my audio is clear.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, great. So just a minute. Let me address some persons who. All right, so recall that we said if we need to write a DAX formula, right? That is our explicit measure. We would need to right-click on the table that we want our DAX formula to show up. Let's say, for instance, I want all the DAX formula that I will be writing to show up here, right? To show up in my line of business. What do I need to do? I'll right click here. And that is what I'll be doing currently because I already have a number of formula, a number of DAX measure written under my fact sales, right? You see, let me expand this so that we can see that clearly. So you see revenue, month-on-month percentage variance, you see calculation for revenue sum, you see calculation for revenue last month. Let's say you need to know your, how you did last month compared to this month, really, trying to do some analysis. So I'm just giving us an overall view so that whatever thing that you need to do, you have idea of how to go about it, because that is just the goal of these sessions, getting you started and getting you familiarized with a number of things so that you can easily tackle a number of challenges when you are faced with one. So we looked at our revenue last year. It's a good thing to look into that. You would want to compare your revenue last year and this year to know if actually you are progressing and the like. So that is it. And we probably looked at revenue year-on-year percentage variance, right? And we look at transaction counts. We look at transaction counts last month. Recall that we said that for you to start, for you to calculate most of these things, you need your anchor formula, right? We need our anchor formula for us to calculate most of these things, right? So let's get started. I will just take us through this SAP. So we'll right click because we want our DAX formula to appear under line of business, right? We don't have much thing. We want all the new DAX formula we're writing to appear under here. What do we need to do? What we need to do, we right click. I will just right click. I'll be very fast. Please bear with me. Bear with me, but if at any point you don't get what I try to explain or what I'm doing, call on my attention. So I just right click and here we go. This is what we have. We have measure, right? Let's quickly calculate our, because we don't have time, I'll just proceed with a number of things that we never succeeded doing yesterday. Now let's calculate our revenue sum. Let's calculate our anchor formula for our unit sold, right? That is what we'll be using as guinea pig. So if you are able to calculate everything I'm going to be doing using our unit sold, all calculation I'm going to be doing using our unit sold, you can replicate same thing to calculate your revenue, to calculate your transaction count. Now I just want us to note something. In this our data, in this our Excel file, this Excel file that we are currently using, there's nothing like transaction counts. I don't know if you notice that there's nothing like transaction counts, right? But we know that our company records sales on daily basis. So those records are being captured in this file. As such, this file grows every day, right? This file grows every day. Let's say, for instance, we need to know, okay, we are looking at all the sales or all the sales done during public holiday within the last 2 years, right? First and foremost, we look at, we just select, we need to, capture the 2 years or select the 2 years that we are looking at. Let's say 2014 and 2015, right? We are in 2022. We need to compare. We need to know what really happened, how much sales we did, and then we can further investigate, right? To know what led to that high or low low sales record during that period. So you can possibly achieve that. Now we don't have transaction count, but there's one way we can calculate that. We can achieve that. Going back to this thing, we need to write our DAX measure, and we did that yesterday, but let's focus on units sold. Now we say units sold, right? let me just type this. I will just put my EU-S, right? Please, the U stands for units, right? The U stands for units, then sold, right? Unit sold. So I just need to indicate that we need to calculate our anchor formula for unit sold, because we want to calculate our percentage variance, right? Our month-on-month percentage variance, our year-on-year percentage variance for our unit sold. We want to calculate, we want to know how, want to just know how we are doing on monthly basis. We want to know how we are doing or how we did last month as well, thereby calculating units sold last month, a comparative analysis, right? That is what we want to carry out at the long run. So what we need to do at this point, what we need to do here, we would need to call on what? To write your anchor formula, what you need to call? You say that you have the one that counts our metric anchor formula involve or are easily referred to this formula that sum or count metric, for which every other DAX formula rely on to drive meaning. So let's see this. We'll use sum to calculate the total units sold, and let's say units sold. So our unit sold is in our FAT file. This is it. Our unit sold is in our FAT sales. So I'll click that, and this is it. We'll close our bracket and click enter, right? We'll click enter. We'll click enter. So that is that. We just, okay, it said that this name has already been taken because I have a measure here called, under my FAT sales, I have a data, a measure called unit sold, U-sold, right? So to solve this challenge, or to resolve this challenge, I will just write this in full, and let's see, it should work. And we'll click enter, and that should work, right? That should work. So that should work. So let's go ahead to calculate our, what do we need to calculate at this point? Let's calculate our revenue, units sold for last month. Let's calculate our units sold for last month. Mind you, if we need to calculate our units sold, revenue sum, right, which is our anchor formula, it's the same way. What we need to do here is just to change this to revenue sum, right? So let's right click, we'll right click. Let me just be very fast because we have a number of things. I'll just show us two examples and we'll deep dive into a number of things. So let's calculate our units sold last month. Units sold LM, right? Underscore. So LM stands for what? Last month. So we'll say, recall that I made mention of a powerful function that you would most use, or you are most likely to use in calculating almost all your DAX measures. Let me say more than up to 2/3 of your DAX measures, relies on, calculate function to achieve what you want to achieve. So it's something that you need to familiarize yourself with. You need to familiarize yourself with a calculate formula. You can browse and read more about it. I won't go into detail. So we'll say calculate. Calculate. What are we calculating? We need to calculate our units sold for last month. So we say we'll call on our anchor formula, this unit, so that this measure that we just wrote here, we'll call that unit sold. So, and this is it. Call that, and we would need to, because we are doing with last month, that is, should be previous month. We want to calculate our unit sold for previous month, right? Just speak the English and translate that, and we'll see previous, right? So we need to say previous. I mean, yeah, previous months, previous months, previous months. So we can do for previous day, like I made mention yesterday, we can calculate for previous month, previous day, previous quarter, previous year. Depending on what you want to achieve, we won't be writing all this DAX formula. So I'll just click on previous months and we'll call on our dates. Do you see? You see this? It said previous month date return a previous month, right? So we'll go pick this our date table, and in this our date table, we have a column called dates, right? Which I showed us yesterday. So we'll say dates. This is it, right? So I'll use my down arrow key to navigate and use my tab to pick that. So, and we'll close the bracket how many times? We need to close the bracket twice, right? We have our bracket open here and here, so we'll close twice. And we click enter and we are fine, right? So let's calculate our units sold month-on-month percentage variance. Now, mind you, if you want to calculate for year-on-year, right, what do you need to do? If I'm lazy, I'll just copy this formula. You see, because I'm lazy, I don't want to type, I don't want to pass through the stress of bringing this, I just copy this formula. What do I need to do? I come here. We'll come here, right click and say new measure. Let's see what happens. I copied this formula that I just wrote for last month, unit sold last month. I will paste the formula here and I will change this to from unit sold LM, which is last month, to last year, unit sold LY, right? My calculate still remain, my anchor formula still remain. But as against previous month, what do I have here? This is previous month because in our previous calculation, we did a calculation for previous month, but we need to calculate previous year, right? Or last year. So we change this to year. Change that to year. And we have that. And we are okay. And should click. Yeah, we are okay. So now we can proceed to write our or calculate our month-on-month percentage variance. Right? Let's calculate our month-on-month percentage variance. And that is it. We'll calculate our month-on-month percentage variance. And we'll start visualizing our data so that I take us through a number of formatting, right? So units sold, month-on-month, right? Percentage variance. So this is our unit sold month-on-month percentage variance. We want to know how we are doing. And to achieve that, I made mention of two formula that we'll be using. Two formula that we'll be using, the if and the and function. For those of us who are familiar with Excel, we know what we can use. You know that the if formula is one of the powerful formula that we have in Excel. So you know what you can possibly achieve with that. So we'll be combining these two formula, if the if formula and the second is and, why the first is if, right? So let's say if, oh no, Daniel is having network challenge. Okay, so if we say if, right? I'll click on tab, if, open bracket, and, right? What do we need to calculate? Now we need to, for you to calculate year on year, you know, there are various ways which you can carry out the calculation depending on the results that you want to see at the long run. You want to see in decimal, you want when it encounters zeros for it to return infinity and the like, right? It depends on you what you want to see, but we want to take care of such challenge of our data returning infinity, right? When we encounter any challenge, let's say our record, there's a place where we have just nothing, right? Instead of returning infinity and the like, we want it to return just to be return 0, right? So as such, we'll be using the if and the end function, right? Or formula. And let's see, our unit sold, we call on our anchor formula, unit sold. These are unit sold, right? Unit sold. Our unit sold and unit sold last month. So that is what we'll be calling on, unit sold last month, unit sold last month, because we want to calculate from last month, right? And we'll close the bracket and put our comma. Just, you need to go through this. Most time it helps for you to achieve what you want to achieve. So what we need to do at this point, we need to bring in our anchor formula again, unit sold. This is the last example, unit sold. Pick that, divide by unit sold last month. Unit sold last month, right? Pick that, minus 1. So, and we close our brackets and say enter, and we are fine. So we just successfully, created a record for unit sold last month. So we can proceed to do for unit sold last year, and but due to time factor, right, won't be diving into all that. You can replicate, can follow this step to calculate for your revenue, to calculate for your transaction counts, and whatever other record that's depending on the data that you have, whatever other calculation that you want to achieve or you want to use for your reporting, you can equally apply this method and you achieve that. So, and now let's dive into visualizing our data. Yesterday, I did show us this. We worked on this, right? We created revenue sum by market, right? We visualized that data. We visualized our revenue sum and by region, right? We didn't add our revenue sum last year, right? Revenue sum and revenue sum last year. So I just needed to add that. Let me click on that and I can possibly take that out so that we see what we have had yesterday. Okay, this is what our visual looks like yesterday. So what I just needed to do, I went to my revenue sum last year. This is the measure that I've written, and click on this, and that adds in, right? So that was what we did basically. Remember, we created this, but I don't know if time permits. Let's just quickly create everything. So first, our formula, because I'm lazy to type, let me just copy this. So I'll copy this, come here, right? Now we need to give our visual a header. Just a minute. We need to give this our visual a header, right? A title. So what do we do? What do we do at this point? You go to insert, right? You go to insert, you bring in a text box. We've started visualizing our data. Please, let's just look up go to insert, then I'll type in. I just pasted what I copied from the other side, right? To change the color, to change this, you can just highlight, come here, right, and change to whatever you want it to be, and that is it. If I click out, and this is what I got, right? And I will leave it as black. Then what else? The font size, let me reduce that to 12, and this is what I got, right? But it's still yet not aligned. Let me align it and take this up. So we'll come here, right? It's not looking good. Let's put a border around that, and we'll come here. You see, I have this selected, and automatically my format text box comes up. So you go to border, you just click this, right? Click on the drop down, and you can increase this radius to, so this, let's say we just increase that to 14, and this what we got, right? And yeah, so what else do we need to do? What else do we need to do? What else do we need to do? Let's start visualizing our data, right? Let's start visualizing our data. I've shared with us the resource, like a guide that will help us to write most of this measure that we wrote yesterday, and I just showed us a number of things with regards to the unit sold. And at the end of this session, for those of us that will stay to the end, I will be sharing this very Power BI file with us. I'll be sharing this Power BI file with us, as well as the data source. But you will have a challenge when you get this Power BI file, because if you don't know how to, change the data source, that will become a major challenge, right? So just I encourage you to try as much as you can. Let's sort that out. So let's start our visualization. We go here, we bring in our cluster bar charts. Bring in our cluster bar chart. Bring in our cluster bar chart. I just want to take us and take us through in order to show us a number of things. Then most of the formatting we can proceed to page 1 and do that. So let's visualize. What do we need to visualize? I don't know. I'm just doing a random visualization because I'm very fast. I need to see my revenue by what? Market. So I go to my region and click on market, otherwise known as states, right? States. So these states are familiar with those of us from Nigeria. So, and this is it, right? Let's say that this is my chart header now, revenue. Do you see this revenue? Revenue sum by market is too big, right? I need to reduce the size. And this figure here, I don't need it. Do you see this 5 billion? I don't need it. I don't know what it's telling, right? I understand what it's trying to communicate, but I don't need it. I need my data label. I need to see the figure against all this, right? So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? Remember, I said you select your visual, you go to format, and if you go to format, we need to change this, we need to reduce this size. Simply go to, either you go to data label, or you come here. If you are lazy like me, then you just say search size, right? You want to reduce the size of this stuff. So what you just go to search and type size, right? And you should see the various size with regards to that chart. So if I reduce this now, something reduces. Okay, yeah. So, and I go down, I reduce this, let me see. And let's reduce the title, which is the revenue sum by markets. Let's reduce that. So I guess 11 is okay, and we'll click out, then click on format pane again. We'll click on format pane again, right? Let's click on format pane again. We've done that. So what we need to do, we need to bring in our data label. I need to be seeing, okay, Ekiti is the first, right, on the list with a total revenue of 5 billion, over 5 billion, contribution to our overall, overall revenue generation. Followed by Abia, and we have Osun states at the bottom, right? So we need to see the figure, and what we need to do, come here, you see data label, just on your data label, and you should have that. So we currently have that. Let's take out this revenue sum because we already know that this is our revenue sum by market. Come here, you see, your y-axis and your x-axis, right? You know your y-axis and your x-axis. So we know that this is our x-axis, and this is our y-axis. So we'll come here, we switch off this. And to take off this, you don't just switch this off. What you need to do, you go here, we take out that title first. Remember I said we click on the drop down and we scroll down, we see title. Do you see this title? Watch what happened to this revenue sum that we have here. It goes up, off. So, but we still have this 5 billion, right? So what we need to do, we need to switch off the x-axis entirely, and this is what we got. So let's do some formatting and have this as our templates for some other visuals that we'll be bringing in shortly. So what we need to do, let's go to our border, on our border, and increase the radius to this. Let's say you need to change the border color from black to whatever color that you want. You can easily achieve that, right? Let me change that to this color and let's see how that looks, right? But I don't like this. So let me return that. And let me return that so that we'll have a nice template. So this is what we got, right? Now let's visualize our month. Let's visualize our store, right? Our top 5 store. Okay, we did that yesterday, but let's still visualize that. Let's visualize that our top 5 store. So I just clicked on store. Now I didn't click on any visual. Automatically that turns into a table for me because I selected a category. Remember, when you pick a category, automatically it picks the table visualization chart, right? So we'll bring in our revenue, right? Revenue, and we change that to clustered bar charts. These are clustered bar charts. So, and we have this scroll bar, but we don't need this because we just need to see the top 5 revenue. Top 5 store, right? We need to see the top 5 store. So what do you need to do? Remember, I see this your filter. Yours might be collapsed, right? You need to just click on this and you open that up. You go to store. Do you see store? Do you see store? You see this all. Click on all. Click on all, and you see currently it's saying basic filtering. Under the filter type, you have basic filtering. Now click on the basic filtering and click on top N, right? Click on top N and we say top. What do we want? Top 5, right? Top 5. My top 5 store. So here we have a field that says add data value. Add data field here, right? By value. So what we need, we would need to bring in our revenue because that is what we want. We want the store to filter by a top 5 store with the stores that has the highest revenue. The first 5 store that has the highest revenue. So remember, once you click this, nothing happens. Once you bring in your revenue into this, nothing happens. Click on apply. Do you see apply? Click on apply and that applies, right? Currently, we have our revenue sum by store, and this is our top 5 store. But our revenue, our chart title says revenue sum by store. This is not correct. this is misleading. What we need to do, you go to your chart formats and you click on your title. You change that to what? Top 5 stores, right? Top 5 stores by revenue, by rev. So we have that. I just say top 5 store by rev, right? And this is what we got. So what do I need to do? I need to remove this store. I need to remove this. I need to bring in my data label. Do I need to go through the stress, through the process which I went through, in formatting this? I don't have to go through all that stress. What we need to do? Just click here, click this, and you go back to your home. Click on the format on the chart or visual that has the correct chart format. And once you click on it, you go to home, then you see your format pane. Click on your format pane and apply the format. So that applies here, right? You see everything applies. So currently we need to do for bottom 5 stores, right? I'll copy this visual. Click this way. You see how my cursor is? Click this way, copy and paste. Control C and Control V. I just copied this top 5 store by revenue, top 5 store by revenue. But I want this to change to my bottom 5. I need to see what do I need to do. You just click on that and come here, right? Click on this, change this from top, change that to bottom, right? See apply. Remember to click on apply and you have this. Now what we need to do, this as against top, we'll change that to bottom. So we'll go to format, right? Go to format, here's our format. Okay, format, charts, and we change this to bottom. Bottom, right? Bottom 5 store. And this is what we got. This is what we got, right? So you can visualize a whole lot. And let's see, we click this, use our format pane and do this. Okay, now let's go ahead to bring in a slicer. I just need to show us, a number of things so that we can achieve what we want to achieve. Let's bring our slicer. Let's bring in our slicer. How did I change this slicer here? I'm showing us a different visual, right? This is what we did yesterday. How did I bring this in? How did I change this? Remember that the default color that we had on our slicer was gray, right? We had the gray, but that wasn't appealing. So how do we change that? So I brought in this card, as well as changing our distance from blank to 0, right? Remember we were having blank in some of our cards yesterday, right? So how do we change that to 0? Let me just quickly show us. First, let's bring in our slicer. Bring in slicer, right? This is our slicer. And bring that here. And what do we need to bring in? Let's go bring in our dates or year. Let's say year. We'll click our dates table, which more holistic. By default, this is what it gives you. Do you see? This is what it gives you. You can decide, let's say you need to filter within a specific period. So I click this, right? But I don't need this. I don't need this. Let me just change that. So what do I need to do? I'll come here. You see, I just highlighted that. What I need is just my year, right? I need to see 2014 and 2015, which we have data for. So I'll click this. Do you see this date? click this drop down, and you change this from date to date hierarchy. Once you change that from date to date hierarchy, this is what you have. I'm going to check out the quarter, check out the month, check out the day, right? And this is what I have. This is what we have currently. We have 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. But 2015 don't contain data. 2015 below don't have any data. Remember, we are faced with same problem yesterday. What do? We'll go to our filter. See this filter? Click on the all and change the advanced filtering to basic filtering, right? Once you change that and you have this, by default, what you will have is the advanced filtering. Change that to basic filtering and select the 2 years that you want to appear or you want to show on your filter. And that is it. You click out, yeah? So that is it. So I can then resize this, but I don't need this. Let's say I have 5 years, right? 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, right? So will my filter just start going down? It won't look nice because it will be blocking a whole lot of space. I need to do some formatting. Let's go change that. Let's change this from vertical to horizontal and take out this year title because we already know it's a year. So I'll switch the header. I went to format. Meanwhile, I have my slicer selected, went to format, and I will switch this off. Where is my slicer header? I will switch that up and the year goes off. And for us to change this to vertical, to horizontal, we'll go to general. Do you see general? We go to general, right? And you scroll all the way down. In general, general, you see orientation. Once you open general, you see outline color, outline width, then orientation. Click on the orientation, the drop down for orientation, change that to horizontal, and you have this, right? This is what we have currently. Now, how do we change this? We don't like this gray. This gray column is showing, we don't like that. How do we change that? Now, what you need to do is, let's collapse this. Go to item. Do you see item? Go to item. You see the gray here. On that format, you go to item, you change that. Let's change that to, let's say this blue, and we should have that. Okay. Okay, so that isn't giving us what we need, this font color. And let's change the background to blue and see. You need to change the background. Okay, fine. This is what we got, right? This is what we got. So let's say need to change this to black. Let's see. No, that isn't looking nice. So let's change this to white again and go back to our general and change this to this. So once we click, this is what we got, right? Currently we selected 14, year 14. And this is what we got. We select our year 15. This is what we got, right? Now, what do we need to do? What do we need to do? This is just the last thing. Then I will show us how to set up a visual that display our target, right? Let's say we have target revenue and we need to see how our various branches or various stores are doing over time, whether or not they are close to the revenue target set for them, right? I'll be showing us how to set that up using the gauge visual. So this is our slicer for year. Now let's quickly copy this and paste. I just copied that. I pasted, right? And okay, before I paste, let me undo. Control Z to undo. Control C again to return back to where we were. Okay, so let's do some formatting to this. Let's just click this and say formatting. Yeah. So this is what we got, and let's Control C, Control V this and change this from our year. We are going to take out this year, right? And bring in our region or month. Let's bring in months. Go to date. We'll click this again, right? We'll click on this drop down and change this to date hierarchy. We change that to date hierarchy. We take out our year, we take out our quarter, we take out our day, right? And we should have just year. So this is our year slicer, right? So our visual is gradually coming up. So our visual is gradually coming up. I'm now going to take us through what I've shown us yesterday, but let's just see this. Okay, now let's say you need to create something that you can easily select the day, month, and year as well. You need to slice, you need to select the day, right? We know we don't have day slicer. Just need a calendar that will help you to filter, right? Regardless of what some other person want to see. You just need to see a different visual so you can easily express yourself or drill down to know what is happening. So let's click on our filter. Let's bring in our filter and go bring in, oh no, sorry, what just happened? Undo that. I see I have my bottom 5 stores selected. Then I click on my filter and that report changed. So we'll click this. Once I click this, and this is what we got. I'll bring in my format pane, and this is what I should have. So this is what we got currently. Right? Please, if there's any question, call on my attention. This is what we got. So let's say you need to see probably 2014, Jan, February, or March. Let's say from 2014, April, right? To when? To currently showing 2020. I don't want, I just need to go back to 2014 December, right? I just need to select a range. We currently need to select a range. Okay, December 31st, 2014, right? So do you see what I did? Automatically that applies to my data. You see that this slicer gives us the leverage, like to express ourselves more than what we have here, right? So it all depends on what you want to visualize. Now, because I will be leaving out with a number of challenges, all these visual, to me, it makes no sense recreating them again, since we did that in our previous session. So it's something that you would need to do on your own, right? But let me show you something. How did I, create this gauge here? You see this gauge? I don't know if you see this gauge. This, right? How did you come about that? We know our revenue as a firm. We have the target revenue as a firm. We have our target revenue to be 100 billion, right? And we have splitted this to different, what is it called? We've divided this across the different region: northeast, northwest, north south, north central, southeast, southwest, south south, right? All of you must or should work towards, reaching or getting this target, right? All of you need to work towards this target. And how do you achieve that as a firm? You need to, apportion the target, you need to divide the overall targets across the 6 region, divide it by 6, and let's say divide 120 what is it called, billion, which is our firm's target for the year 2022. We divide it across the 6 region. We should be having, what is it called, each region should be looking forward to, you know, realizing 2 billion, right? They should be looking forward to realizing 2 billion, right? So how do we know? Okay, let's say for instance, we are in July 2022, right? And you just need to go across, you just need to understand how this firm or how most region are doing, right? You just need to understand how most region are doing. Just a minute, please. You would need to mute your mic. You need to mute your mic. Just all right. So how do we achieve that? Oh. Hello, who has his mic unmuted? Victor. Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for that. So I've taken care of that. So how do we achieve that? That is what we'll be looking at here. Let me just show us. Currently we need to, this is the gauge, this is the gauge, this is the gauge, right? I'll click on gauge and we'll go bring in our revenue under our fact sales, right? We have our revenue. Remember, we are making use of this anchor formula, right? We click on our revenue and this is what it brings in, right? This is what we have. This is what we currently have. This is what we currently have, right? So now we need to set our targets. We just have this brought in, says revenue. Currently, we have our minimum value. Let's say for each of the region, you know the target that or your organizations, you know, follow. Maybe probably give North Central 10% or 20 million or 20 million target, right? North Central. While other region has, let's say, 2 billion for Northeast, 5 billion for Northwest, South has let's say 3 billion, because you know maybe the number of what is it called, stores within the region varies. So the one that has the highest advantage or has the highest store, you need to, you know, gain more revenue from that region, right? So, and as such, the targets won't be same across the entire region, right? So in such situation, those targets will need to be captured within your data source, right? So what you need to do is just to go bring it in here. So you have your minimum value, you have your maximum value, you then bring in your targets. Do you see it? But in our case now, we don't have that. We just need to manually set it. There's a new director that say, a new managing director that say, oh, okay, everybody within the next 3 weeks or within the next 6 months, right? This is what you are looking out to realizing, right? We are looking out to getting this amount from you. Let's say 2 billion or 5 billion, as the case may be. What you need to do, you need to set that manually. You come to this. Do you see? I have this, my gauge selected. Come to gauge as is. Do you see gauge as is? Do you see gauge as is? Right? I'll click that. and you see your minimum value. Currently it's showing 0 billion naira, right? No, I don't want that. I probably want the minimum, right? The minimum revenue to be, let's say 1 million, or let's say 10 million, right? Let's say 10 million. So 10 million, and the maximum, right? The maximum one we're looking out for is, okay, as a firm, right? As a firm, we are looking out for, okay, I will need to clear my filter here so that we'll see the overall revenue here first and foremost. So let me clear my filter. Just a minute, let me clear my filter. Okay, so let me return this to January 2014. Just a minute, 1st of January. Yeah, so we currently have 146 billion, right? But our revenue so far, let's see our revenue so far for 2014. Let's see what our revenue was. 48 billion, right? And for 2015, let's say we are not doing fine, right? We have 24 billion, and we are approaching, we just have, let's say, 4 months to go. And as such, we need to double our hustle as a firm, as you know, we need to just double our hustle, right? What do we need to do? Set a target shared across the various regions, and everybody know what they are looking at to realizing. So because we have 48 billion, so we should be doing more, right, in 2014. So as such, probably I will multiply this times 2, and let's say we have 90 billion. Let me change this to 90 billion. 90 billion. Yeah, 90 billion. Then our target, what is our target? For each of the region, what is our target? Each region should give us a minimum of, do we say 15 billion, right? So this is our target. You may have, a better explanation, depending on what you want to achieve. So you may have a better understanding of what I'm trying to visualize. So yeah, but this is how you can possibly set that up. These are targets, and this is what we got. So let's go ahead to reduce the text. Let's go ahead to reduce the text, or we can possibly click this. Let's click this. Let's click this, use the format pin. Yeah, so, and we can use the format pin here to take out this store. Okay, for the x-axis or y-axis, so let's take that off. Let's switch our title. Just a minute, we'll be going into dynamic dashboard, which I'll be using the other dashboard to show us how to create that DAX formula, right? So this is it, right? There's a whole lot that we can do. If we go back to this report, we'll go back to what we created yesterday. Still loading. So I just needed to visualize. You want to visualize a number of things, so you just do that on your own, express yourself, right? Now see what I did here. See what I did there. If I select, let's say we select February, right? 2015, right? I just selected February 2015. And let's see what happened to our report. It's currently loading. It's currently loading. Just a minute. Okay, so everything filtered. But now, do you see what happened to this, my reports? This doesn't make sense. I might want to know, okay, how did I do on weekly basis in the month of February, right? How did we do how did we do in the month of February, right? So maybe something happened nationwide and we just need to understand how that impacted. Let's say there's a lockdown or a state of emergency across the whole nation and we just need to understand what's up, how did we do, right? You can possibly drill down. Let's go to the next stage to see the report by week. Do you see that? Do you see this? You watch here. Do you see, if you watch here now under your general, where we have fields, right? As is, under this as is, right? You see that we have date table, we have our column, month, and day, right? Those were the things that I left. Let's say I take out this day, and you see, we won't have that drill down button again. You see, it's not made available for us. You see that? But now, in order not to waste our time, let me take this out and go bring it in again so that I will show us a number of things. So click this, click on dates table, check this, and I will take out I can decide to leave my quarter, my year, right? Decide to leave my year. Currently it's showing February 2015. Do you see? February 2015. If I uncheck here, it should show me February, right? I just uncheck the year and it's still loading. This is what I got. Do you see? And let me uncheck the February. I don't want to see for February again. Let's just see all-time reports. And this is what we still get. This is what our report look like. Now we need to select 2015. We want to see what happened, or 2014 as the case may be, depending, right? And see what happened, see what happened. This is what we got, 2015. Now, do you see that I can drill down? You say click to turn on drill down. Here you say, go to the next level in hierarchy. Do you see that? Go to the next level in hierarchy. And remember, we have our year, quarter, month, and day, right? When we changed from date to date hierarchy, that was what we got. I don't know if you remember that. Let me click to show us that again. Do you see? Year. Currently, this report is showing in the year level, right? This visual. If we go to the next level, right? Let's go to the next level. It's showing on quarterly level, right? Then we'll go down, we'll see for months, right? Do you see? We have for months. And we can further drill down to see for day, right? This is on weekly, yeah. Because this is not long enough, so you just summarize that to day. Do you see that? This is the 23rd of when? Let's say we select February, 23rd of, where is that? So this is what we got. Okay, this is the 19th of February, right? 19th of February. So that is how you can possibly achieve what you want to achieve. Now, let's look at how we can possibly create dynamic background. Let me show us what I mean by dynamic background. Let me show us what I mean by dynamic background. So I know I've shown us this report before. I've shown us this report. Currently, we click, right? The whole report color, background color changes from green to what? You see? How do we achieve this? How do we achieve this? And we would need a home page as well. We would need a home page. You create a report, at least you have your home page. From here, you can navigate. If I control click, right? Control click this dashboard, it takes me to my dashboard. Do you see that? So let's look at how to do this, how to achieve this shortly. So just a minute. Let's see how we can possibly achieve that. Let me admit someone. Okay, now to create our dynamic background, where do we want to create dynamic background for this visual, right? I mean, for this dashboard. So I just showed us the number of things in this place, right? So currently because this formatting and arrangement will take a whole lot of time, right? We'll need to do the dynamic background on this visual, on this dashboard, for which I will be sharing with us as well. So let's watch how we write that DAX. So I will close this so that I have a better view of what I'm doing. I need my dynamic background to appear under my fat sales, right? That is where I have all my measures stored. Did you see? And your naming convention really matters. So you see, everything that has to do with revenue is in one place. Everything that has to do with transaction count, transaction is in one place. Everything that has to do with units sold is in one place. Please, when you are writing your DAX, your naming convention really matters, because you may be in haste to achieve a number of things, and as such, if you don't name your data properly, when you want to reference, right, maybe reference some DAX formula or DAX measures that you've written, you might be referencing the wrong DAX measure. So it's important. And also, you wouldn't want a situation whereby you send your report to some other person and the person can't easily relate to what you've done. That won't be very good. So you just try as much as you can to make your report look appealing, right? In as much as you try to communicate value, right? It should be appealing as well. So let's dive in. What we'll do, I will right-click this. I'll right-click this and click on new measure, right? I just right-click my fat sales table because I want my DAX measure to appear there. Now, okay, what I will do, let me just do something now. I will escape. Let's say, for instance, I need my DAX measure to appear under my fat sales, right? But I mistakenly went to my model and right-click, right? I didn't notice on time. I right-click. I never knew that what I right-click was my D_model as against what? My fat sales, where I want my DAX measure to appear. So I will go ahead to write this DAX measure under my D model. Let's write our DAX measure under our D model. Sorry, just a minute. The Power BI is somehow slow. Let's see. Please, hope we are just getting it. Let me know if you are confused at any point. So I will name this dynamic background because that is what I want to achieve, right? Dynamic background. You can call yours anything, dynamic background, right? So that is what I will call this, dynamic background and constant. So there are two powerful functions as well. The switch, right? DAX, like I said, DAX is a formula language developed by Microsoft SQL for what is it called? SQL Server Analysis Service, as well as Power Pivots for Excel and Power BI. So my previous bootcamp on Excel Power Pivots, we did write some DAX measures, to visualize data in Excel, right? So DAX is very powerful, and the more you familiarize yourself with a number of the DAX formula, the more you will express yourself. So we'll be making use of two DAX formula. We want a situation whereby when we click on any of the region, our background color switch, right? It changes In other words, it switched from one particular color to a different one, right? Now, two key things to note. When you select switch, when you select a particular listing from the region, when you select a particular region from the region table, I need my background to change. In other words, to switch from the color that it is at that point to a different color background. So that is what. So, and as such, we'll be making use of the switch function, right? We're making use of the switch function as well as the selected value. Switch when we select a value from here, from our region table. Which region table? In our region table, what do we have? We have our region column. So if I select northeast or northwest, what do I want to switch to? I want to see my background color switch to purple. If I select northeast, what do I need my background color to change to? I need it to change to blue, right? That is what we'll be looking. So let's call on switch. We say switch. You see, you have this and you can further click this to read more, right? So, but because our time is fast spent, I'll just say this switch. This should be the last thing, and I'll show us how to change our data source ASAP, and we'll be fine, right? Switch selected value to 1 hour 30 minutes is not enough. Okay, selected value, right? So I don't want to continue writing my formula this way, going straight, right? Because it won't be readable. What we'll do, I will hold down my shift and click on enter, right? To go down. So I will then indent this, right? Let me see, go back, indent that. Switch selected value. Which selected value we are looking at? Our table. Remember, you would need to first reference your table before a column within that table, right? We'll say our table is where? Our table, our region is where? Where's our region? Our region is under our D location, right? D location. So we say D, okay, we have that D location. So we'll click that, and D location, we have our region. Do you see? We have our region as well. We'll navigate down. We have markets. Under the D location table, we have market, we have region, we have store. We use our down arrow key, navigate to region column and pick that, right? So what we want now at this point, we'll need to close our bracket and put a comma, right? Let's put a comma here and we'll go down. Let's just indent that. And now we want, what do we want? Because this is a string, we'll be typing in a string value, be entering in a string value, and as such, we need the quote, double quotes to, cover that for us, to secure that. So we'll bring in double quotes. Now, I want us to note something, because you might try achieving this and you'll be faced with challenge because you are just doing the wrong thing. If I click this, I copy this, I paste here. Let me paste here, and I go to data. I'm currently on my Excel file. I go to data, I remove duplicates. Let's see how many regions that we have. We have currently 6 regions, right? We have 6 regions. Do you see this north central, northeast, northwest, southeast, southeast, southwest, right? Same way it's spelled here, right? Same way you have it spelled here, it's same way that you will need to enter, or you will need to capture it in your data. You need to spell it in your DAX measure, right? So because I'm lazy to type, I'll just copy this. I'll copy this, come here. I'm lazy to type, I'll copy here. This is my north central. Put that in quotes. Then what do I need to do? What do I need to do? We'll put a comma, Now, what do we need our this thing to change to? What do we need to change to? What do we need our North Central to change to? We need to change to what? Purple, right? Let's say purple. So we'll close that and we'll put our comma, right? Let's do that again for this. So I'll just be fast. So it's same approach. You take, go back to our Excel, copy Northeast. I don't want to waste my time typing. Come back here. Come back to this and paste, right? Put that in parentheses, in double quotes, put a comma, right? And we want that to change to blue. Is that? Yeah. Need that to change to blue. And we close that to put a comma and Control Enter. Then what else? Bring in our quotes, go back to our Excel. I'm just trying to be fast. I know our time is fast spent. Please, let's just bear with me. Let's just achieve this together since today is the last day. So, and we need our North Central, Northwest to change to what? We need it to change to, let's say, gray. Let's say gray. Side, if you have specific color that you want that to change to, you can, get the color code, and that will also work. Let's say we have the color code for this as against gray, we can put the color code, but we don't need to put it in double quotes as well. So, because that is a number, we'll come here, just 3 more to go, Trying to be very fast. Let's see, go back, paste, comma, then we change that to green. Oh, okay, we change that to green. No, I'm not yet done. I did a mistake. Okay, so we enter here. Let's say north, south, right? South. We do this and put our comma. What we want is south to change to? What we want is south to change to? We want it to change to, let's say, we have purple, let's say pink. I don't know, but we'll take care of that, whatever, even if it's not looking appealing. Let's say pink. And we have one more, last one to go. We'll have a last one to go, right? Which is, just a minute, let me admit this person. We have one more to go. North, southwest, right? We have our southwest. So what do we do? We can decide to say southwest goes with the background color, the default color, right? Let's say our default color is, what is it called? Green. Let's say green. So southwest will just be green. Or let's just capture that. No, let's say default green. I didn't capture the last this thing. So green, I think, and that is it. And we'll close our bracket and we'll say enter. Now we've written our DAX measure. Let's click enter. This is our DAX measure. We didn't capture southwest because southwest with Southwest, we go with the default. I purposely did not capture that, right? So Southwest, we go with the default. So how do we bring that in? How do we bring that in? There's our measure, these are measure. Now, we want this our measure to be under fat sales. How do we go do that? One thing, you can decide to double click, right? And copy this measure. Come to fat sales and recreate it, then go back here and delete. But I don't want to pass through that stress. We don't want to pass through that stress. There should be salvation for us. What you need to do, click on the measure. I just click on the measure. You see here, under measure 2, once you click on the measure, you see measure 2. Do you see measure 2? You come here, you see dynamic background, you see the title, name, then home table, you see D_model. Let's change that from D_model to fat sales. And this our measure, we go to fat sales now. It will move out from here to fat sales automatically. It's applying, let's just exercise patient, and you see that. Now we now have our measure under our fat sales. So that is how to change that when you are faced with such challenge, right? So what we need to do, let's go bring in a shape, because we need to apply that measure into what we've just done, right? So let's go to insert, go to insert and bring in a shape. I'll bring in this shape, right? And I will use it to fill my entire background. You see what I did? I went to insert, I brought in shape, and I filled the entire background. Now you go to, what is it called? You go to modeling. No, sorry, let's go to home. Format. You go to format, we need to send this to the back, right? Send behind our visuals, right? So what do we need to do? We'll click on this drop down, send backward, send to back, send to back. I'll click that. And this my report. This thing is behind every other thing. Do you see that? It's behind. But if I click here now, nothing happens. I want this color now to change. Do you see that? So what we need to do, we'll click on the shape, come here. We have a slight change. Click on the shape. And when you click on the shape, automatically you have the format pane for this. My shape is selected. I don't know if you see that. My shape is selected. You come to fill, right? Come to fill, and you click on this FX. Do you see this FX? Do you see that? Click that, right? Once you click that, it should open up, and this is what you got. Now, we click on the FX, and this is what we got. Change this gradient. Do you see this gradient? Change that gradient to field value. Click on this drop down and change the gradient to field value. And automatically you have this. Now we'll go bring in, select our measure, right? The measure that we just wrote using switch and selected value. So we know that it's captured under fat sales. So currently, you see, every other measure automatically are graded out. Do you see? All other measures are graded out except for this dynamic background. So that is how it works. If you are not seeing it, that means you are not doing something right. We just selected and we'll say, okay. Now let's see what happened. Let's see what happened. I will click out. We just click out now, right? And if I select this, let me take out this. Let me delete that. Just a minute. Do you see everything changes? Do you see that? Everything changed. But this is not looking nice. This is not looking nice. Let's do one formatting. Just a minute. This is not looking nice, and as such, we need to click on, do you see? The background changes, but we need to reduce the transparency. Let's go back. You go to fill, click on the shape, right? Click on, make sure you selected the shape, and as such, you see shape, format shape. Click on the drop down for fill and increase the transparency. Let's see what is happening to our, increase the transparency to, okay, that is much. Do you see? This is what we got. We just increase the transparency, right? We'll click out, then click out. Now we can now click other destination, right? So we click out. So currently what we need to do, one more thing we need to do. Let's go, or let's duplicate this. Let's duplicate. Okay, no, I won't duplicate. So that let me just show us. Let me show us. I'll go to insert again, right? Bring in shape, another shape. Bring in shape this time around, and this shape will be seated here. This is the shape. This shape will be seated below here, right? This is where I took the shape to. The shape will be there, and I will go to fill again. I just need to run us through the process again. Go to fill and change this to gradient. All this, we just go off. Then go to my fat sales table, click on this and say okay, and that will change. That should change to dark green. I'm not going to reduce the transparency for this. Now I still need to replicate same thing here, this space I have, right? I'm going to copy and paste. I just copied this. Did I copy? I haven't. Let me see. Oh, copy, paste. I guess it works. Okay, yeah. So what I'm going to do is just to increase this. Come here. So this is what I got. Do you see that? Do you see that? So the last on the list, the last is how to change our data source, right? The last is how to change our data source. We can try to remove the transparency, the background of this visual, so that what we have will reflect what, our background column. I will show us that after showing us how to change our data source. So how do we change our data source? How do we change our data source? To change your data source, let's say I sent you this file, and once you carry out any changes here, let's say you come here, if I increase this aperture is where aperture should be under North Central, right? North Central region. If I increase, let's say I inflame the figure here from 874,200 to, let's say, 90 billion. If I increase that and come to my report and refresh, you should see it. It should reflect here. You go to North Central, you should see North Central. See, currently North Central is the lowest in the list. Why we try doing some of that things, why I try showing you, let's just inflame that to 90 billion. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, let me see. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, this is 90 billion. We'll go to North Central. North Central is currently the lowest. We'll go to our data. Let's refresh and see. Let's refresh and see. Let's refresh and see. We are refreshing our report. See what happened. See what happened. Currently, North Central is the region with the lowest revenue contribution. But let's see what happens. Currently, we increased that Our report is still updating. Hope I connected to the right file. Okay, let's say, okay, I guess this is not the file, but let me say I need to connect to this file, right? Let me undo that. Let me just show us how to change data source and do that so that we achieve that correctly. So currently I have reversed my figure here to what it was. So how to change data source, right? I'll go to file. This is my Excel file, right? This is the Excel file. Remember, we are connecting to an Excel file. I connected to a different Excel file, right? That was why it didn't update. So let me connect to this. I'll go to Excel file. When you open up the Excel file, you click on file, then you see, what is it? Info. Do you see info? This info, you click on info and you click on copy path. You see copy path? I'll click on copy path. I just copy the path and I will go back, then navigate back to my Power BI report. We need to change our data source. Where is our data source? So we need to change our data source. Just a minute, let me locate that. Okay, you see, you go to transform data. When you go to transform data, you have your transform data. When you want to go back to Power Query report, we want to go back to data. We want to change our data source. So we'll click on data source setting and we are here. Do you see where we are? We are currently here now. So we see change source. I'll click that. See currently, see where I'm connected to, but I don't want this. I can either browse or the file path that I copy, I'll just paste it here. I'll delete this and paste, right? Now let me undo. Do you see this one says 2.2? I don't know if we notice anything. See user, right? Samsung desktop, Power BI, Bootcamp 2-2 sales sample data. I will delete that and I will paste. I have similar stuff, right? I have similar stuff. So let's go and say okay. Let's say okay. The two files that I have on my system are currently seated there. So I will say okay and I will close this. I just changed the source and I will close this, right? I'll close this. Now let's go back to this Excel. I'll go back to this Excel and increase that to 90 billion. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Enter and save. I just entered and save. I will close this file so that my report will refresh. So I'll go refresh. There's a lag with my Power BI. It's just slowing down. Please, just a minute. Okay, now do you see? Do you see? Our North Central currently has the highest revenue. Do you see that? Our North Central currently has the highest revenue. Formerly, I wasn't connecting to the Excel file that I had open, right? So when I made the change, I came to my Power BI report and refresh. It didn't pick it because it wasn't the actual data. I had a different file on my system. So, but I needed to change the data source, right, to that Excel file and as well increase the figure there. Let me go open it up. Let me go open it up again. Sales sample data. Increase the figure, right? I need to increase the figure for North Central. This that I did. You see what we currently have here is 90 billion. So I'm going to undo this. I'm going to take this back. Okay, take this back to 84,000, 87,000, I guess 874,200. Yeah, that was all we got. 874,200. I save, then I'll come to my report and refresh. Let's see. I'll refresh. See this North Central that is currently leading. We go back to be on the list. That is where we have Northwest. North Central should come here now, where it's the lowest, having the lowest revenue. So here's my refresh. We'll click on refresh, right? We'll click on refresh data, and let's see what happened. Our Power BI is just slowing down just a minute. And I guess I will need to close the Excel file for it to run successfully. Okay, and you see the, okay, this is what we got now. Do you see? Can we all see that? This is what we got, right? This is what we got. So thank you, everyone. That, with that, I think we've come to the end of the session. With that, I think we've come to the end of the session. Please, if there's any comments, so maybe probably you would need to focus while going through a report. You need to see what is happening with regards to your data. Let's say this report now, you need to focus. You need to see this in detail, right? I'll just click that. You see this icon, focus mode. I'll click that. Once we click that, you see, now we have everything. You can now see, okay, see everything clearly, right? And after going through it, you can decide to go back. So yeah, please can kindly leave a comment. If there's any question, I'm here. Please just let me know. Just let me know. Before we log off, right? Let me share a file with us. Please just hold on a minute. Let me share a file with us, just to get information on how the session has been with us, right? So please, is there any question, any area of clarification? I would equally need to show us how to remove the, what is it called? The chat background. Let's look at how to remove the chat background. While we are still on this call, please help fill out this. I just dropped a link on the chat. I just dropped an evaluation link on the chat. Please, you can just leave a comment there, right? Please, I don't know if you can hear me. Let's leave a comment. Oh my goodness. Sorry. I wasn't going through my chats. Wow. I wasn't going through my chats. Now, oh gosh. Wasn't going through my chats for some time. So please, let's fill out the, let's just click on that link and fill out a number of things, just few things, please. Please, let's just fill it out. And with that, I'll be sharing sharing with us some resources that will further help us to, achieve what we want to achieve at the long run. So you look forward to, deep diving into Power BI, data analytics using Power BI. You would need some other resources with regards to DAX and possibly have some updates with regards to the tool, right? So please, let's click on the link. I just sent the link again on the chat. Please, let's click on the link and leave out a comment. You can unmute your mic and just, say one or two things with regards to how the session has been with you so far, right? So you can unmute your mic and just leave one or two comments before logging off, please.
Yeah, hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, my name is Abraham. I was able to join the 2 classes last week, which were awesome. But yesterday I was not available. I couldn't join yesterday. So I'm pleading if I can get the video for yesterday's training. And I mean, it's going to really help to actually complete what I've come here to learn. But overall, you have actually done well. You have passed across an information that's we can't buy anywhere. I mean, what you have done is so good and great. All I can say is thank you and thank you. God bless you real good.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Thank you, sir. So with regards to the session recording, I'm going to, though I did send the session 2 recording today, but I'm going to compile the session 1 from session 1 to this session. I'm going to compile the whole recording and send to us, right? I'll send that via email. If not today, please look out for my email tomorrow morning, please. If not today, because I will soon be on transit. Once this session is over, I'll need to be on transit so as to get home on time, because I went out.
Right. That would be awesome, sir. That would be awesome.
So just look out for my mail tomorrow with regards to the recording, or midnight today. Yeah. So let me just show us a number of things on how to deal with this. Remember, we brought in our dynamic background, right? Brought in our dynamic background. See this chart? Okay, we brought in our dynamic background. So let's do away with our chart background. Let's switch that off. Do you see? I just switched the chart background off for this. We don't need this again, right? We don't need this. I'll just be switching it off. Let's switch that off. Thank you for those of us who have evaluated. Thank you. So let me I'm just trying to switch off the background for this, so that once we change our, let me change this. Remember, our default is blank. Okay, I did say that I'll be showing us how to create a button, right? How to create the home page. Well, okay, maybe I will do that shortly now. But we've come to the end of the session. And with regards, I know I didn't touch the, what is it called, dynamic title. Let's say we want, as against this XYZ Limited, right? We want North Central. When we select North Central, we want to see North Central sales performance report, right? When we select South South, we want to see South sales performance reports. How do we create this dynamic title? You can check that out on my YouTube, right? On my YouTube channel. So let me don't bother us with that. Now we need to just change this. Let's see. If I change this to a different color. Just a minute. My paper is just, oh, I've forgotten to save again. Gosh. Let me save. Currently, I have my Power BI duplicated. That is why it's just slowing down a little bit. Thank you very much. Please, you can just unmute your mic and leave a comment. Yeah, haven't filled the form. Thank you before you log off. So, yeah. So, do you see that? Now, let's switch, let's remove the background for other charts. Let's remove the background for other charts. Once you select the chart, you go to format and you see background. You see currently is on. I'll switch that off. Let's switch that off. Let's switch that off. And we'll do same thing for our units sold by market. Let's do the same thing here. Let's do the same thing here, right? So just a minute, let me wrap up. So you can work to, visualize, you can do other things on your own report. Please, I encourage us to try as much as we can to replicate same report on our own, right? If not more, better. And once you are done, you can post and tag me, yeah, or tag just, yeah, or you can send it to me as well. And please, if you are faced with challenge, always reach out to me, and we'll just need to schedule when to meet so as to solve whatever challenge that you encounter while trying to practicalize what we've done so far. So let's see. Switch this off. Power BI just slowing down. Let me see. Before this will go off again. This year report is currently coming up. Our report is currently coming up, right? Let's switch this off again. And let's do that for this and a number of others. So let's do same here. Let's do same here. Okay, so and now let's focus on the chart. Can we use format pane to achieve this? Let me see. Can we? Okay, great. I think that this will serve as well. Oh gosh, I forgot. Please, those of us who are still here, how to do away with zero when we are faced with blank. Let me just show us that. These are DAX measures. These are revenue currently showing zero, right? How do you achieve that? We'll come here, right? Come to this. If I take out this zero that I put here, you see that? I'll click enter. We've written our DAX measure, revenue sum last month, calculate revenue sum, previous month, revenue sum, then previous month dates, table and dates column. Let's see what we have here. By default, what we should be having here, total revenue should be blank. Total revenue for last month will return blank. Just see that. Do you see? Do you see that? Total revenue is currently showing blank, right? But we don't want this blank. How do we take care of that? Click on this to know the particular measure that is pointing at. So this is it. We'll click this and we'll come to this our DAX measure. We see +0, right? And click enter. This was what I was going to do yesterday before my system crashed. So once we click +enter, and here we go, right? You see this blank bit goes off. And if there is nothing, it should return 0, right? As against blank. We don't like that blank because some other person might interpret it a different way. Okay, this is what we got, right? So say 2015 and your report updates. Well, once you have your report, you just need to go do refresh and you are good, right? So see you when next we meet. So in subsequent session, maybe in future, I'll be focusing on the Power BI service as well. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. I guess we've really gone far. Guess we've really gone far. Oh, say this Wole. Sorry, please, can you unmute your mic? Probably I missed that. Okay, sir, you said you will send the Power BI file. Yes, please. Yes, I'm going to send the Power BI file. Yes. I'll be sending the Power BI file to us, as well as the data source. So I did show us how to change data source. You can just do that. Open the Excel file, click on File, go to Info, copy path, go to your Power BI file. You come to Transform Data under Home. Under Home, you come to Transform Data, click on the drop-down. Data source setting, click on that. You see change data source. You can either navigate or that is browse, or you just paste what you've copied from the file path, right? And you'll be fine. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Please, can we all hear me? I don't know. We are all here since we don't want to go. Ali, Dixon, Oluwatosi, Samuel, Wole. Please, can we all hear me? Jane, Chioma, Caroline, Chinedu, can we all hear me?
Yes, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have done well. We so much appreciate your effort. God bless.
Thank you so much. All right, so because we need to process the recording to this session, I'll be ending this session in the absence of any question. I'll be ending the session in a few minutes. Okay, the slides are right. Sorry, you would have unmuted your mic so that I get what you are pointing at. Wole, please, I don't know if you can hear me. Can you unmute your mic? Probably I missed that. So I can just, give a brief explanation with regards to that. But notwithstanding, let me just say, I don't know if this addressed your question. I'll go here. So the slicer, right? The dates on the slicer. I don't know the slicer you're referring to, but I know that once you want to bring your date slicer, you click your slicer. This is my slicer. I clicked it and it came in here, right? This is it. I have it here, right? So I will come to my date table. This is my date table, right? This is my date table. I'll click on the drop down and I'll select dates. My date table has a column called date. I'll click that and this is what I got, right? I don't need it this way. I need to visualize it. Let's say I need, just months, right? I'll come here, click this drop down. Do you see this drop down? Currently, this date that I brought in, the slicer for this date is currently selected. I'll click on this drop down, right click, and change that from date to date hierarchy, right? Change that from date to date hierarchy. Now, let's say, okay, because I have my months, I have my year. right? Let me say I need to bring in quarter because I haven't done anything with regards to quarter. We just take out every other item, leaving just quarter. So I have my quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. Do you see that? And I'm fine. So for me to change this from vertical to horizontal, I'll click on format. When you click on format, go to general. Do you see general? You see orientation. Vertical currently is showing as vertical by default. You have it as vertical. So what you need to do is to change that to horizontal. You see, and this is what we got. Let me take this out so that I have space to show this quickly. So this is what we got, right? I know this is my quarter. I don't need this quarter. So what do I need to do? Come back here, take out my slicer header, right? Switch that off. I don't like this gray, this thing. I just need to be in uniform with this. So what do I need to do? You come to item, you see item, you click on item, you change the background to whatever color that you want. But me, I need this dark blue, right? This is what I want. So I'll change my text. Do you see this text color? I'll change the font color to white. Should look nice. Do you see that? And this is what I got. So, and that is that, right? Now, this filter now, okay, that will be advanced. I wanted showing us how to sync the filter, but I know if I show us now, we might go apply it without knowing how to remove it. So that is it. I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Wole, if you're still on the call. Oh, I guess he's off. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. See, we meet again. I'll say bye. Bye for now. Notwithstanding, I will still be here for the next 2 minutes. 2 minutes or so. I will still be here for the next 2 minutes. All right, thank you. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Ali, are you here?
Hello.
Hello, yeah.
Thank you for the session. So we really learned a lot from what you showed us, but I have a question.
Okay.
So from this dashboard that is being created, everything is okay, but the dashboard is self-performance report. I think can't some of the information be reduced, because I think there is too much of information here. Like if you are working in a real life situation, you would like, I think I would like to show my viewers, or like the person that is going to use the dashboard, just few information, the most important ones.
Yeah, definitely.
So from this dashboard, it is very insightful for a follow analyst, but maybe for a manager, you just need just few things for decision making, just to know how things are going.
Definitely.
So from this dashboard now, what are the things that you like, the 5 top things that you choose to show like a manager that is, okay, look at this sales performance report, this is what is happening?
Okay, thank you for that. So there is a whole lot of analysis, right, that you can do. recall we wrote a number of DAX. If I go to my fact sales, you see this DAX, all these DAX I wrote here, right? We didn't visualize them. You agree with me? We didn't visualize them. Like our year-on-year percentage variance. I just needed to show us, like, try to show us a number of things with regards to, you know, if you try doing something on your own, right? You wouldn't want to present, most time you wouldn't want to present, you know, such thing to someone, because if that person can't use whatever you've created to make a informed decision, so it makes no sense, you know, showing that. First and foremost, like I earlier mentioned, you should have like a plan of what you want to use, have your data, you know what you want to achieve, right? You work towards it. For me, I'm just showing us a general view, like trying to show us how we can use the tool. I'm not literally telling a story with this. It's a different thing entirely. You get?
Yes.
Yeah. So if we go to data, storytelling with data, right? For that, yes, what you said is correct. The information here is much, right? Can just have one or two if charts here. Then the next what is it called? The next page should have another chart regarding what you want to disclose, the insight that you like, what you've discovered. You know, you can either be doing your analysis to describe, you know, we talked about the predictive analysis, we talked about the prescriptive, the diagnostic, the what is it called? Prescriptive, descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, right? And the like. We talked about all these things. So there are different things that you would likely do. This data now, you agree with me that everything that we are doing here is just descriptive. We are investigating what has happened over time. We are just looking at how we've performed in the time past, right?
Yes,
I didn't do anything with regards to forecasting here.
Yes,
so that's for the advanced. So you get, and maybe let's say you need to understand, okay, what really happened. You need to diagnose, you need to like the diagnostic analytics, right? You need to investigate to know what really happened. Why did this happen at so time? Doing a comparative analysis, right? So I agree with you. Yeah. So it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. And you agree with me that there are a number of things that I didn't even touch, right? This, like I said, a beginner class, but intermediate, you should be fine as an intermediate currently. So if you need advanced, you still need to, like the forecasting, I just showed us something with regards to gauge, how to set targets, but there are still more better ways you can do that depending on your data and what you want to achieve. You should have like a sketch, like a wireframe, right? Before diving. But we just, as we are just using the data, we are just brainstorming and like, not that we have many. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So please go back to that page 1.
Okay.
Okay, so like as I said before, like
Hello?
I'm not saying the dashboard again, the report.
Oh, sorry. Let me share.
My chairman, don't forget your boy Ali.
Share. Okay, can you see it now, please?
Yes, I can see.
Fine.
So
Okay, yeah,
what I'm trying to ask is that now from this dashboard, if revenue is like what the most important metrics in a given organization, like out of this, that everything in this dashboard is important. But like if I'm to choose like 5 5 things to show someone. Like, what, from your experience, what do you think from this matrix of measurement, what do you think you want somebody to know? The 5 things you choose from this sales performance report.
Okay, from this sales performance, looking at this now, I would write with the help of the what is it called, charts, slicer, right? I would want them to see this. This is my gauge. Because
yes,
yeah, one, we need to look at the region as well.
Okay.
This region charts. And each of this region has markets, right?
Yes.
Let's say we select North Central. We need to see the markets as well to understand, because that will help us make decision to know, okay, where do we need to concentrate more? Where do we need to like double our performance?
Okay.
Right? So that is that. And my revenue sum and revenue sum last year. Looking at the current performance, let's say we are in 2015, right? We need to see how we did last year. We are in 2015 of, let's say September, right? 2015 September. We need to understand, okay, from January 2014 to September, right? Or to December 2014. How did we perform?
Yeah.
Our total revenue was, let's say, 20 billion. In this current year, which is 2015, we've done 8 months, right? If I'm not mistaken, is it 8 or 7 months, right? So we are in September, October, November, December. So we are left with 3 months. How do we strategize in order to at least beat the revenue that we had last year, given that this year 2015, from January to this month of September, we have only realized just 11 billion, or let's say 9 billion, as against 20 billion that we made in 2015 for the whole year.
Okay.
Now that depends. I'm just assuming that our financial year starts January 1st. That's what I'm assuming. Our financial year starts January 1st and end 31st December, right? So looking at that, it can help us to know what do we need to do? How do we need to, what action do we need to take in order at least for us not to perform less than what we had the previous year, right? Even if we won't beat that, we won't make up to 22 or 23 or 24, 30 billion this year, given that we just have limited time, right? We just have a space of 3 months to search for how much, 11 billion. How do we go about doing that? You can further drill down, right? To start going through the stores, right? Now, the units sold is not much important.
Yeah.
So you're looking at revenue now. So how many units were sold, the number of transactions done shouldn't be the focus at this point. You are looking at revenue because you have a target. So as such, we would need, as against this units sold by market, what we need to have here is revenue by market. Revenue by stores, right? Which we know that, okay, we have our stores, let's say in Ekiti now. If I say Ekiti, let's say we have up to 30 stores in Ekiti State, right? We have 30 stores. Let's assume that we have 30 stores. And I can't visualize those stores, everything. So I just need to see the 5 top stores that are contributing the most in Ekiti State. And the 5 stores that are in the bottom, that are in the list. I don't know if you get. So that will then help us to further make, like, you know, carry out other decisions. So with that, I think I've identified 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And as well, we would then look at our line of business. Line of business is also an important stuff, right? To know, okay, in all this, what is it called? In all this thing that we've done so far, right? Which line of business even contributes the most? Is it service plan? Is it part? Is it copier sales or printer sales? Which one is even giving us? So that we even strategize to know. Then when we know, okay, probably in 2014, we made this thing, we made, what is it called, 20 billion because we, let's say, invested or we doubled our struggle or hustle with regards to service plan, or maybe something really happened, right? And made us to realize that. So we can consider doing that same thing in order to beat our target with the limited time that, based on the limited time that we have.
Okay.
So I don't know if at least it just,
yes, I think you have answered my question. You just connected the most important thing, connected to revenue. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome. Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Any other question? And before we end the session, now. Please let me know if there's any other question in the absence of none. We'll be stopping recording now. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chinedu. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Luatosi. And till we meet again, bye for now. Thank you.